Alrighty then. How we doing, guys? How we doing? It is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett, every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 Central Time. Number to call in is 573-422-4225. Like always. How's everybody doing tonight? Anyhow, usual. Here I am. The internet still is what it is. So, whatever. We technically can move into our new shop, but they're still got a long ways to go. They still got a good 5 or 6 days of doing stuff there. So, it is what it is. So, they keep telling us we can start moving over there, but they still got a lot of ceiling tiles and just a bunch of little things. And I don't want to get in their way and then get in arguments with them later about when we actually started. And, just let them finish. Let them finish, stay out of their way, and then we'll start moving. But it is kind of annoying. We went over there on Saturday and Sunday and kind of messed around a little bit. But Cummins oil thermostat delete pros and cons. If you're talking about the oil thermostat replacement that we sell, if you don't understand what that does, it's pretty simple. You put that thermostat in, you pop out your factory Cummins thermostat and you put ours in. What ours does is it allows all of the oil to go through the oil cooler. 100% of the oil gets directed directly to the oil cooler. So, a lot of people say, oh, you just pull it out. Well, you can't do that. If you just pull it out, then 100% of your oil will bypass the oil cooler. We're trying to do the exact opposite. We're taking all of the oil and sending it through the oil cooler instead of just some. And so it dramatically cools the oil. What would be the cons of it? I mean, fucking internet, man, can't stand it. But anyway, the argument is that maybe in cold, I mean, I seriously doubt that it's going to make that. We haven't had anybody get back to us and say, say that in the cold. Why is running hot with your part? I have no clue. The always your coolant, what this does is narrow that distance between the temperature of the oil over to the coolant. Use them inside of each other. Very, very disappointed with customer service of your shop. Again, who we are. So that's nice. I feel like people are taking advantage of the show to drop shit. It's the third show in a row where people come on here. I don't have any clue who you are. I don't even know if I've done anything for you ever. So I feel like this isn't the spot for that. Anyway, what do you think about adding Stitchinator to your oil? You called and tried to get information for an overhaul, and that's why you're coming on my live talking shit to me because you called and tried to get information. Okay. That seems a little over the top. You can manage AI summaries in the settings. Yeah, you can. Our phone lines were down for almost 4 days. So if you're saying you were trying to call and nobody answered, we didn't even know they were down. So that was a problem that we fixed. So that could be what you're talking about. And we didn't even know people were trying to get a hold of us for 4 whole days until I started seeing in my TikTok and Facebook and all my DMs, and people were saying, "I'm trying to get a hold of you, trying to get a hold of you." So anyhow, I love to watch and love to listen to, but the slow internet speed makes me absolutely insane, and I always tune out. Please get with Starlink. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Elon Musk is going to care too much about me complaining. Oh, Hotshot Stiction Eliminator. That's what you're talking about. Hotshot Stiction Eliminator has no place in a heavy duty on highway engine, oil and gas engine, because that is for your common rail stuff. On your medium duty stuff, you're just pouring money down the toilet by using hot shots in your big rig. If that's what you're talking about, you're not going to unstick the injectors. Does it work in your smaller rigs? I've heard that it does. I don't know for a fact, but it is has no place in a big rig. You're just wasting your money. If you have a bad injector, you're not going to sit with hot shot stiction remover. What's your thoughts on the 570? I believe they're talking about the Signature 600 ISX. Um, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I'm not a fan. I mean, it's you know really nothing wrong with your dual cam ISX, but there is kind of a reason that they're going away. You know that the dual cam isn't really standing through the test of time. Uh, People aren't keeping them around. It's gonna be one of those nights, but your dual cam will say so. There's a lot of them out there, but a lot of people aren't restoring them. Kind of tell it, you can kind of use that as a metric of where it stands. Like does it have the status of a 6NZ or something like that? Obviously not. People aren't going out of their way to keep them up. So they're not a bad engine though. I just think the single cams that came after them have been proving to be a better engine. So, what is the difference between TTM and AFA's stage three head? Nothing. The manufacturer, they do have a different manufacturer. I use both. There's really is no difference between them because if you're talking about the stages, because your stage two head means that they have taken the valves that came in it out and they've put Inconel valves in the exhaust side. And a stage three head means that they've taken the original valve out that came with the head from China and they put an Inconel valve in the intake side. That's a stage three head. And all these guys that sell stage two and stage three heads, they are hand taking them apart and putting those valves in them. That's how that works. Your stage four head means that it goes to a machine shop, gets a fire ring put in it, and that's your stage four head. Our head that we came out with a little while ago, and we sold out of all of them and haven't had them back in stock ever again. We're just now getting on to, um, we just found a company that will coat the bearings. Those bearings are incredibly complicated to coat and keep tolerances so we don't end up with spun bearings and stuff like that. We just got a place that's um, doing them for us, and our isotropic super finishing is just about perfected. We had some guys come in and help us with it, and we've gotten it all the way down to a 1.5 RA, which is basically like a mirror. So we are going to start producing them again. Where do you get all your cool T-shirts from? Yeah. A lot of them I make them, but a lot of them I just put it into Amazon, whatever's on my mind, and you'd be surprised. Seems like there's a shirt out there for everything you could think of, but if there isn't, I just make them. So I mean, there's all kinds of t-shirt services on Amazon. So how are your core returns handled? Like everywhere else, we send you a label, you send the cores in, you get your money. It's pretty simple. That's how everybody does it. Um, anyway, what cat engine prefix would you recommend? I owned a C16 7CZ, but not opposed to a 15 liter for a repower in a Peterbilt. 3406 or a C15. Um, I mean, I wouldn't recommend a 7CZ to anybody. They just not as hardy of an engine. They're more prone to problems. Um, I would rather have a little bit less displacement and have a C15 personally. 3406E or a C15, C15. And it's going to be the exact opposite of what I just said. I'd rather have a 15 liter rather than a 14.6 and a more robust build. They kept making that engine, that platform, more and more robust. And when you go from the 3406 to the C15, it is a more robust platform, especially when you get to the ACERT. How much torque can you reliably get out of a C12? I believe the most you can get out of those is 1650, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, are we taking calls tonight? Yeah, we're taking calls. We haven't had anybody call in, but well, I should have looked up before I said that. There's 4 callers, so I was just enjoying the comment section, guys. Again, if you guys don't know, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. Caller-centric show. Pinch the wastegate or not, there's always controversy about that, but I don't think I've ever owned a truck in my entire life that the wastegate wasn't pinched off on. So take that for what you will. All right, we got some callers. Let's go ahead and start running through them here. Make sure our phone lines work. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron, this is Boyd Goodnight again. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. What can we do for you?
Hey, so that's awesome. Every time I call in, I'm the first caller. That's pretty cool. Hey, so I talked to you before about this motor in my Western Star. It's the N14 Red Top. But lately, my driver's been telling me that it's producing a lot of water coming out of the tanks. It even got to the point to where it's ruining valves and freezing stuff because obviously I ran in Idaho, Utah, and Nevada and Arizona. Anyway, new compressor within a year and new air dryer within the last 2 years. What could be causing so much moisture in this? And we're talking significant. I mean, I'm willing to bet you it'll fill up a half a gallon or a gallon every time he drains it, and it's about twice a day.
What are we draining?
Water out of the tanks, out of your release tanks, the valves.
Water out of the relief valves.
Yeah, the storage tanks, you pull the cable and you drain your moisture out of them. These are not draining just moisture. They're draining freaking water, like massive amounts of it.
Oh, caller's only on my headphones. Uh-oh. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about his air tanks, guys. He's talking about his air tanks.
Yeah, storage tanks, air tanks.
I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
I mean, I reached out to the guy you told me to in Fillmore that you're kind of sort of affiliated with. I've been trying to get the truck into him to get my truck looked at. I had some shop tell me it's possibly an ejector getting ready to fill or something, that the truck just runs rough. It's probably only got like 120, 130,000, maybe a little bit more on a rebuild.
The only way that's be totally unrelated. So let's stick to your one problem there. The only way you can be filling your tanks up with water is if the air dryer is not working properly.
That's kind of what I thought.
No, 100%. I eliminated the air. I'll just tell you a little story. I eliminated the air dryers off of like 3 of my trucks because I just had so many problems with them. This was in Alaska, and I put just sniffers on there, thinking I was being really smart. So I would just feed alcohol. That was the worst idea I've ever had. I had to very quickly put air dryers on them again, and I learned from then on that if I was building up too much moisture in my tanks, it was just replace the air dryer. I mean, obviously start with a filter, but that is your air dryer's only job, really, right? If you're filling the tanks up and you're draining out gallons and gallons of water, your air dryer whole system is not an expensive unit, and they're not hard to do. It's like an hour to 2 hour job.
Right.
You can buy the whole unit.
Yeah. So I had it done. Yeah. I mean, I had it done. I mean, it's literally less than 2 years old, or right at 2 years old. It was not to say it's not a bad unit. Don't get me wrong.
How often do you,
I mean, it was bought through.
How often do you change the filter on it?
Well, generally when it starts showing too much moisture, but my driver just informed me about this about a week ago. So I had to have the trailer sneaking into utility trailer in Salt Lake, and they started looking. They said it took them almost an hour to drain the water out of the lines in the tanks.
Yeah, it's an air dryer problem, 100%.
It's an excessive amount.
I always change the filter right in the fall. Same time I would be putting, airline antifreeze in all the tanks. I always drained all the tanks and put a quart in every tank and new filter on and all that. But there's 100%. You either need a whole new air dryer unit or you need an air dryer filter. It is possible also, like somebody just said in the comment section, that it's plumbed wrong and it's actually bypassing the desiccant filter. But the air dryer is most likely just wasted.
Yeah, and I kind of figured because it was bought and purchased and put on through TA Truck Stop, which I know they're not quality parts. Do you guys deal in air dryers at all on your end?
I mean, we'd had everything Automan ever sells, but it's too much stuff. So we're just kind of shying away from all that.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to know a quality air dryer to replace it with, because apparently theirs are shit. So.
I believe Bendix makes a good one, but whatever your local Peterbilt or Kenworth has is going to be your best bet.
Okay. All righty. Well, that's kind of where I had that going. And then if I go to this guy in Fillmore for this motor issue I'm having, running rough and so on and so forth, if I wanted to get a motor through you, is it kind of just like a swap out deal if I go through him, or does he rebuild them there? Or because I can't get into him. I've been trying to get into him for like 3 weeks now, and he's too busy to look at my truck.
What state is Fillmore?
Utah.
Oh, okay. So that's probably Robinson Truck and Trailer, that guy?
Yeah, you're the one that told me about him last time I called in, so I reached out to him, and
yeah. I know that all the guys that were affiliated, I mean, not that they don't get their own work, but we kind of keep everybody buried that we're affiliated with.
Yeah. He's pretty busy, and I've tried to get in. I just want him to research it. Take a couple hours and try and read and see if I do have an injector issue going on. But I mean, I could beat your head up all day long about I've taken the truck to Freightliner 400 times, and it still, for some reason, just leaks oil like a sieve out of the freaking oil pan. They've replaced the gasket, 3 times. They claim that they're not going to do it again because there's obviously something wrong with the truck. I've had it checked out by the people that rebuilt the motor, and they say there's nothing wrong with it. I'm kind of just at the point where I want to take it to a shop and say either rebuild it or replace it with a different motor. But I'd rather do it through you because I know you guys are quality.
I mean, it doesn't sound like there's anything wrong with your engine. You just need to take it somewhere where somebody that actually gives a fuck will help you out, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to. He's been a little bit busy, and I'll try and be a little bit more patient. But I mean, the truck does run pretty damn rough.
Yeah. It's an N14.
Unfortunately, I got to listen. Yeah, N14 red top.
Yeah, it's
525 horse.
There's a 90% chance it's the injector. They're infamous for it.
Okay. And could that injector, whatever's going on wrong with it, could it cause blow by or some type of issue with blow by? Because the truck doesn't have a lot of blow by, but it does have a little blow by.
It's highly unlikely, but anything's possible.
Okay. All right, I'll just take it to him and have him check it out, and hopefully he can get to me this week or next. And
yep.
If not, I'll be calling you back and trying to figure out how to get a motor.
All right, brother. Good luck.
All right, thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
All right. Next caller. There's so many now. Elias? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, whoever likes this always calling in to come in here and kiss my ass. I'm going to take our calls to help us out here. So I've got a question for you. I'm somewhere on the 40. How heavy? About 100, over 100. How often am I? No. How often? 10,000, 15, what is it?
I can't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, but I can't understand you because of the radio in the background. Are we there? All righty then. Oh, yep, we lost him. Daniel, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, man.
Question for you. I've got a 2021 X15 565 Performance. I bought the truck brand new. About 100,000 miles, it started using about a quart of water, just enough to be aggravating to turn the sensors on, water ran. No big deal. Had it deleted done right, ghost deleted everything, the sensors and everything. Nothing was took off. Had it deleted at about 180. The truck has 424 on it now. And about the 1st of November, it started using about a quart to maybe a half a gallon a week, and it's got worse and worse. And now it's kind of wanting to push what it's pushing water, seems like, on the compression stroke. So what we done, we put in my EGR cooler, so put EGR delete on it. Isolated the sign that could do anything. What I'm calling asking you, are there any other things that I need to look at or could be going on for pulling the oil on or pulling the oil pan off and putting the compression tail on to see what cylinder might be low, head might be cracked?
Well, you're not leaking through the cylinders, or you'd be putting coolant in the oil.
Yeah, putting more on the water.
Need to go. That cylinder head's no good.
Okay. Well, see, I've always several patrols time. This model motor is. I've always been a cat man all my life, and of course, that ain't going. Buy it with a comment. So, but I've been told these trucks when the toys for line, what did the big stop before, and they.
No, the cylinder head for sure. As soon as something's going on, it's a cylinder head, and it probably has everything to do with the delete you did.
Okay. How's that?
Because the tune that's on it's too hot. Your EGR is no longer working. You're running 20% you would have. You have way higher pressures, and they probably put a bunch of fuel to it too, because everybody does, and it cracked your head out all over the place.
No, not my man. My truck was cheap. Like I say, I'll not reveal who he is, but he is one of the best around. And nobody. What I'm saying is, I know other people that's had theirs jacked out of the frame, and they've not had that problem. And mine has been. He did not mess with the horsepower. None of that when he done mine. So I understand what you're saying, but the truck has been took great care of. So
it doesn't.
I just didn't know if I had a head problem.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter how well you took care of the. The tune. You got to have the correlation. You decided to delete it. It's probably tunes you think he is. You're attacking the wrong thing, man. All those other things you're doing are just delaying the inevitable, which is you got to go after that cylinder head.
Okay. No, I'm not going to go after the cylinder head. I'll put a yellow motor in it.
Well, it's not the end of the world. Just got to throw a head on it. Be, a lot more affordable than what you just said.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Brother. Good luck.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bob Murphy. You're on the air, brother.
Hey, Aaron. How you doing?
Amazing, man. How are you
Can
doing?
you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm doing fantastic. I just made a calling you. I had an engine built about 180,000 miles ago, and I had an IVA, number 3 IVA, went out 3 different times over the last month. And then I went to go looking, and nobody replaced the IVA wires or the injector wires. They were the same wires.
What kind of an asshole built that engine?
When I remember Caterpillar, my engine about 8 years ago, they didn't replace them either. And about 12 years ago, Caterpillar, they rebuilt this engine, and they did not replace them either. You know who's been replacing them? Me.
I think I actually saw them doing them. Yeah, and I'm going to assume that did fix the BVA problem. It almost always does.
Yeah, so I just did it today, and I posted a video today, and I said, Hacknation did it again. And so everybody jumped on that right away. So you're going to get a bunch of grief about this. But if you listen to the video, I said, I had this done 8 years ago, and Caterpillar didn't replace them either. In fact, I wouldn't want anybody to replace them unless they were bad.
No, sure.
But it was 180,000 miles ago. Yeah, I lost the number 3 IVA 3 times in a row, so I said it's got to be a wire. I just started driving it. So far, I haven't had a code come up, so I'm hoping that's it.
In my experience, 99% of VBA problems go back to the harness, and guys will,
Right.
change VBAs over and over, and they'll seek somebody out to delete the engine. I just couldn't stand dealing with those VBAs, and it's almost always the wiring harness.
I changed it literally. I think I changed it about 6 years ago, and it sits at 200 degrees all day. It's just wires, and if you disturb them, yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's not a big deal. I just took off the rocker box plate and turned it over. I replaced some clamps, but I'm pretty sure because I had this happen 6 years ago and it fixed the problem, and I never had an IVA problem for 6 years till now.
Yeah, well, we would have done them when you were here, but Deborah was making you be so cheap.
Right. Exactly. Now, if I would have said no anyway, because I know how to change them. Why would I? It's fun. It's fun to spark up some internet fun.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen it, but I'll check it out when we get off here. But are we gonna? You guys are for sure going to the Mid-American Truck Show?
Yeah, we actually go to we're part of the Page booth. Page has us bring up a trailer. We sit with Charlie Trucker and we stay in their booth. So yeah, it's like a Page thing. We sit at their booth and we go. It's they can take care of us for the whole show up there. But we're at booth 91155, right outside the main door.
Oh, I'm sure I'll find you. I'm gonna be there a day or two before and a day or so after as well. So I got a lot.
We will also. I'll be there probably. I'll probably be there Monday. I got your phone. I'll give you a call. We'll have a drink or something.
100%, brother, man.
Okay.
Hey, that's if Deb.
All right, man. Yeah, I also tagged you in the video that I made, so you'll be able to find it.
All right, brother. Sounds good. Tell Deborah I said hi. You guys have a good night.
All right, man. Have a good. I will tell the kids and the wife we say hello also.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Sounds like Bob caused me a bunch of problems. Nothing wrong with that. Jared with the X15. Brother, what can we do for you?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate your time, and after listening to the callers, thank you for your patience.
It's all good.
What I got is 2019 X15 565. And we all know if you lug them, the liners move, which causes, the head gaskets to go out and start pushing water. So my question is, with your experience, what is the best RPM, low and high, to run that engine at? So what I do is I got a 5-axle truck, 3-axle log trailer. I'll haul about 103, 104 in Washington State, hauling logs out of the woods. And so how I run that is 1,500 at the low, downshift, bring it up to the 1,900 mark, and I split, half a gear, which is 200 RPM. And so do you think that running it at that between 15 and 19 would be the best RPM to run it and not have the lugging, I guess, on the compression stroke to cause those liners to move back and forth?
Well, I agree with where you're running it at because that's where the torque is on your ISX. But I don't agree that I don't agree with you at all that lugging it is somehow going to make the liners move. I don't think it's a contributing factor at
Okay.
all. Your torque, when you're making your maximum torque is when you're going to have the most torsional load on it, right? And that's that on that engine, that's way
Okay.
up higher. And I see guys saying, max 1700, but your ISX can run up where you're talking about without killing it. The problem, part of the risk of doing that is, guys will tend to let their jakes come on that high as well. You'd really want to be under 1700 for the jakes come on. It's a lot healthier for it, but this idea that it's a necessity to run it like that to keep your liners from dropping, I don't think there's any validity to that at all. Uh, uh, who's ever telling you that?
Without, when it says on the valve cover, the lowest torque, 1100, 1200 for kilowatt, or horse beating RPM would you be running it at to try to minimize the liner movement on the compression stroke?
I don't think it's related at all.
Okay.
I think your liners moving and timing and pressures and stuff like that. Anytime you're running the truck through its normal operating procedure, which is going to be inside of that obstacle, really your RPM range should be factored in by what you're pulling, how you're pulling, and all that. Kind of an example. What I'm trying to say is, if I'm running a cat, and I'm pulling a heavy load and going up a steep grade, I might let it drop all the way down to 1200 before I shift. I'm not going to grab a whole gear. I'm not going to be trying to split gears and act like James Bond or something. And that's going to keep me in that 1600 to 1200 RPM range where a cat wants to run. You're going to get the best fuel mileage there. You're going to get the best power. If it was really slick out, it's snowing really hard or whatever else, I'm probably with the RPM drop much. Not go below 1300. It may, I'm doing my shift and I'm hitting up at 1600. So I'm adjusting it for that reason. Same with me trying to make the engine last longer. A cat's probably not going to last as long if you're running at 1900 all the time, right? Your ISX torque band's totally different. It kind of falls on its face at 1200, 1300 RPMs, like an old N14.
Right.
I would run an N14 up a lot higher, or you won't have. You would fall on your face. You tried to grab the next gear, and you're hitting 1500 RPMs on an N14 or 1400 on an N14. You're probably not going to be able. You're going to be grabbing another gear immediately, right?
Right, 2 gears. Yep.
Right. So it really comes down to your application, in my opinion. But
I guess what I was just asking is, you tear them apart and you get knowledge from everybody wants to come and tell you how they drove it, right? I've been listening. That's what everybody's saying, right? I guess I'm just trying to figure out the best way. And that's pretty much how I drive this new X15, the X15 that I got now, which is different from the pack car I had. The X15 likes the higher RPM. It says right there, that's what they want you to run at 1950. But I'm just trying to where on the lugging part of it, everybody says that's when on the commercial stroke and the liners move, as described it early on, how to make their blocks look good, and they're not going to react. So I'm trying to find the sweet spot, and that's pretty much where from the 15 to the 19 range, where I feel like it pulls good and I can feel it. But I'm not going to sit there at 1200 RPM for 15, say miles up a long day. I challenge the whole gear and just let it run free at 1700. It's pretty much where I like to keep it, is about 1700 when I'm pulling hard. So
yeah, and I don't think there's any problem with that. All I'm trying to tell you is, I don't agree that if you were taking things down, that it's not going to make the large.
okay. All right.
I
understand that.
think you're doing the right thing. I just don't think you're the reason you're doing it. Just my
Okay, I got that. Because nobody wants to tell you the best way to do it, because they always want to throw caution to the wind. Well, I don't know. I'll tell you how to do this, but I don't want to be responsible for it. But obviously, knowledge is power, so that's why we try to get, we learn from everybody and try to find the sweet spot. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and all right. See you later.
Yep. Have a good night.
Bye.
Holy callers. So many callers. All right. Here we go. Better keep after him. Arthur, you're on the air, brother. Question looks like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My friend has a ISX, and I'm taking a chase from the deal is astronomical line. You guys have turbos for those motors. The truck is not deleted in any way at all, but you have turbos for the ISX with all that computer stuff on it. You guys have your own turbo line.
You mean with the VGT on it? Yeah. Yes.
Yes, you guys have your own.
On this internet. Yes, we do.
Okay. Then my next question is the same guy, Cummins motor. He has like 900 some thousand miles now. Are you gonna do the motor, and you guys can do the motor? I did tell him that you guys did away with doing the end frame. So does he have to ship the motor to you, or can he bring the truck to you? You'll take the motor out, do it, and put the motor back in. How does that work, or do you not do that?
We do. We're trying to get away from doing that as much, but I mean, you just have to give us a call, man. We try to help out people as much as we can anyway. And we have all kinds of. We have probably a dozen options, right? So it's not just you got to do this or fuck off. You know what I mean? So in frame, we can help line them out in the right place for that too. So,
Okay.
All right, brother.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to tell him wrong, because I know you guys stopped doing end frames, but I know he can send you the motor. But he said, well, if I.
Yep. No, we pull engines and put them in around the clock, like literally.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. That's all I need to know. I appreciate it.
Yep. Bye.
All right. You too.
Somebody asked in the comment sections what I think about K2 diesel. I think probably K2 diesel is probably one of the best shops in the United States. And I mean that for a couple of different reasons. First of all, he's very knowledgeable. I had him on the show before. Yeah, and he's a younger guy, but very surprised with his knowledge. Is very extensive. But that's not really. There's a whole bunch of knowledgeable mechanics. I don't really base it too much on that. It's more about deal with a lot of we send a lot of people to him. We supply most of his parts, so I deal with all of his warranties. I help him with all of his warranties, and the way that he treats people is the number one. Guy wanted to go, is not going to get smoked or but afterwards. Great play to go. You're on the air, brother. What can I do for you?
Hey, thanks for taking my real quick. I wanted to say last week, you ran out of the money and the time on the phone calls, and you mentioned that it cost you a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
I did the quick math. It roughly, like my quick math said, you spend about $2,500 a year on these phone calls. So I just want to say, as a caller, man, that's very much appreciated that we get to call in, twist your ear, and learn info from you. So yeah, thank you for that.
No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it. I wasn't sure. I never kept track of how much it is, but last show, I think I had like $35 on there, and I ran out. So it might be more expensive than I think it is, or whatever I said last time. I don't know, but yeah. First thing I had to do.
Well, you said it was about.
Go ahead.
You said it was about $500 a month, and so I just did quick math of like, okay, about a year is $2,500 roughly, I'm sure, or something like that. Whatever math it was, it worked out to $2,500 a year. I was like, damn, that's appreciated, dude.
No, I think it's about $200 a month, 250. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. My question comes about deletes as well, and the gentleman that called about the X15 delete earlier, he deleted it really early, like 180,000, he said, and then pushing coolant at 400 something. Now, it's my understanding, but I don't think a lot of guys know this. The EGR is actually cooling your intake temperatures compared to normal, correct? So when you delete the EGR, you are making your intake temperatures hotter, correct?
You're making the combustion hotter. So
do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh no, it's terrible. If the piston crown was designed different, if it was designed to never have an EGR, it would be great that it doesn't have an EGR, right? If you tried to add an EGR to a non-EGR engine, you'd have some serious problems.
Okay.
But an engine that's designed to have it, the piston is designed to still give this good combustion, clean combustion, and torque and everything it's supposed to do at a cooler temperature. So what?
Yeah, they built the engine to work with the EGR better, and everyone compares it to old engines. Oh, before we had this EGR, before we had this DPF, our engines would go 1,000,000 miles, and now they're crap. But they were entirely different engines back then, so now they formed it and built it to work with the EGR, which I don't think a lot of people understand when they delete it.
Yeah. So, but it's not all EGR engines. You have DD15s and Packards that go 1,000,000 miles, no problem. They got EGRs.
And that's where my question lied, because my engine recently went out of warranty, and now with all this EPA stuff coming down the pipeline with Lee Zeldin, they're saying they're no longer cracking down on emissions defeat devices and stuff like that. So it kind of looks like same with EPA is telling CARB to like screw right off with pushing anything as far as emissions testing from trucks that are out of state. It feels like we got the green factor warranty. I had a couple NOx sensors and a DEF sensor go bad on my DD15. So I started raising the eyebrow, like when my one box goes bad, that's a $6,000 ticket, depending if you go after. I'm considering deleting, but all the research I'm doing on deleting a DD platform, whether it's 13, 15, or 16, I am not really getting any straight answers if people are deleting just the DPF, or if they're doing DPF, ER.
So I do. And the first comment is I reckon anything, right? But I will say this: if I was going to delete engine, which we literally don't here, but if I was going to, and I had the option to delete the DF and leave the, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah, and that's kind of after everything I've read, you know, because you read these comments on diesel forums, and they're like, I deleted, I have an issue, it's been deleted for 700,000 miles. But you never get that guy who really wants to explain, oh, I did in DPF, or I own DPF, so what we talked about the cooling the combustion temps, or what you had to stand with that. I appreciate.
A lot of those.
Yeah, no, I know. Or they forget that you did work the engine and hit their mind when they were typing that comment.
Yep. But
all right, well, I appreciate that input, sir.
Yep. Good luck, brother.
All right, take it easy.
Yep. Bye. I see all kinds of people commenting about Bob, and they were just giving me shit, guys. Calm down. Obviously, that's their truck. Bob likes to do a lot of the work himself. So you're on the air, brother. For you.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, hey, I had an engine and Z Keller and a pressure radiator, and I walked it down to you and had you to work on it. Unfortunately, I'm in Southern Illinois, and it got bad before I could back into town.
Mm-hmm.
But either head comes from you, a stage 3 head. I got your coated exhaust manifold, turbocharger, overhaul coated pistons and bearings and everything from you. No, overhaul this engine. You recommend brake it?
I mean, so you don't have to have a break-in oil. If your answer is yes, so I'll give you some examples on the market, and the couple that are on the market, they're not easily accessible. So use them. Yeah. But
okay,
I have had 3 agents in the years that we've been doing this, that we broke them in, and within 10,000 miles, the truck is developing quite a bit of by. And 3 I can broke them on breaking the proper way. That kind of makes me a little bit of a, it's convincing for
okay. The reason, say, I bought a John Deere man in to put in a combine, and they recommend. I mean, they had John Deere break-in oil in this engine, and the tag said to run it 100 hours, get it out, and then run your regular oil.
Yep.
Does that sound legitimate?
Yep, 100%. So
okay.
Your break-in oil is a low moly, high zinc oil. I know because I have a company developing me break-in oil right now. I just talked to them 2 hours ago, and they told me a week and a half, and I'll get my first pallet in. So I'm super excited to have a break-in oil I can use here. Let alone break-in oil is pretty awesome. And
well, I can go to my John Deere dealer and get break-in oil for this engine. It's finished. I'll go ahead and do that.
Yep.
I got 132.78 turbo from you guys. I'm running a stock 550 6NZ Caterpillar.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because it's not turned up. I'm not going to turn it up. I didn't know if I needed another tune with that ball
No.
on my engine or not. No. Okay.
So one thing you're doing with our sales
Okay,
team
well.
is, you know, really getting on them about downselling the size of the turbo to people. Because we have problems calling, I got an 8mm turbo from you. I can build any boost. Like, okay, what tune you have? Well, I got a 475. Like, okay, it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah, sure.
78 132 is going to work great. Honestly, outperform that stock turbo, but it will perform.
Yes, that's what I've got on now. Just the stock blower on it. I'm excited to see what your stuff can. Also, I got your stage 3 cylinder head that has the Inconel valves in it and so forth, and I think that's probably good.
Yeah, I mean those astronomically better than the stock valves for sure. That's why it's pretty much standard. You almost can't buy a head that doesn't at least have them on the exhaust side. Oh man. Okay. Man, I'm tired. Off 18. Tabernac. I'll agree with that. All right, back to the callers. Brother.
Hey, Aaron, it's Lynn. I had a N14 that was it was a 435, and I thought it was a 5 1/4. I had it turned up to the 5 1/4 on my end, and ran good, and then all of a sudden I blow the head gasket. And so I take it to Kenworth, we pull the heads off, and 4 of the cylinders are scored. Number 5 rod cap bearing was really tore up. It was down to the copper, and it messed up the cam. What could have caused all that damage? Because a little backstory: the engine was rebuilt.
I don't need that. I can tell you what, but your time, your fueling is so far off, and wrong piston grounds. That the skirt getting so hot, and we're hitting the outside walls, and that it almost guarantee you it did progressive damage. It destroyed everything, but it was probably the skirts hitting the wall. And it's you took a 435 up to 5 and you can't do that. The timing is way different on it.
Okay. I misspoke there. It was actually a 360 is what it was.
Even worse.
Yeah, I'm figuring that out. Like I said, I thought it was a 5 1/4, and then recently, I found it was actually a 370. But now that's a 435. Turn up these 4 seat, leave it there, or is that a no go?
I don't know. All that kind of stuff. I have to consult CPL. Just like I see somebody.
Okay.
Right there. Guys call me all the time. We kind of specialize in building people's N14s up in horsepower, and it always starts out with what CPL you have and compare it to a higher horsepower, see what all's different. That's how we everything. I can't retain all that knowledge. So, like, if you called me, here's and then I'm going to compare it to like a 2025 TPL or whatever it is, and then see what's actually different. I'll go through all of the hard parts. So maybe it has a different injector, maybe it has a different turbo. There could be all these different. And looking at the time code, okay, well, maybe we have an offset key. Like, we're doing an N14 literally right out the door right here, and we do cam for, and they actually sent the gear on there. First thing we did was check the keyways to make sure. And of course, the damn gear that they sent there would have been nice if it would have been right, but it was a straight key, and we needed that. So, set the timing so far wrong, we would have done the same thing you did and would have burnt it up.
Okay. This new has I guess a full tilt, which I don't know anything about. Got a full tilt, and I don't know which turbo it has, but it's supposed to be a full tilt turbo as well. Is that going to hurt anything? You think?
No, unless the turbo big, you'll know if it won't build boost until you're at 1,700 RPMs, then your turbo's too big.
Okay.
Well, like I said, end, you're fine.
Okay. Like I said, the motor came this way, and I'm just trying to get the damn thing out of the shop and get back to what I'm going to do right now. So, that's where's the good run that N14 at?
Well, an N14 will kind of fall on base on 1400. Not everyone, most of them. So you kind of have to run them 1400 and above.
Okay. Well, that helps me out a lot, but I'll let you know a while back about the parts I bought, and just whenever you get a chance, you can call or text me later on about that stuff.
Yeah, if you need anything, just hit us up on there, because there's there's so many people on there, man. So you gotta you gotta poke me first, really, honestly. All right,
okay.
Brother. All right.
Well, you had sent me a text asking me what kind of kit I had bought and all that. Wanting pictures, I didn't have them. Was the deal, but I'll let you get off here. Get on to the next guy.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. So, all right.
Yeah, I didn't quite about the motor, but later.
All right, sir. Bye. I always people tell me their name and like, yeah, give me a call here. I'm like, oh man, there's like 2,000 people communicating with us at a time. But all right. All right, question about an MXS and actuators. No name. What can we do for you, brother? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a NMSX 2006 Peterbilt. It's got 1 million miles on it, and I'm getting ready to build it. And I want to do I have to do anything? The timing on that to change it to a single turbo?
Well, first of all, I recommend that you don't.
Okay.
I would leave it a twin turbo if it was my truck. I don't think there's enough gains and benefit to do that. But the answer to your question here, hang on, I got to reset. Tick here. Okay, here we go. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. The biggest thing is you have to have different piston crowns. That's the biggest thing. The piston crowns that are
I'll order overhaul kit, exhaust manifold, everything off of you, head, work and overhaul it.
So there's two things you got to have the right kit, which is a 6 compression kit. And the second thing you got to have is you got to have somebody that knows you got to have somebody that knows how to tune those. It's not just going to grenade engine. That's the biggest thing. And then you change it out to a single turbo. My personal opinion is I would leave it the way that it is.
Okay. Probably not enough much boost right now.
Right, but there's got to be a reason for that. Your twin turbo, compound turbo, all you anals out there, should build quite a bit more boost than a single turbo will. So I would try to figure out why. You got air leak or something going on, or you have it's probably derated. That would be my guess. It's probably got 25% derate going on for some kind of electrical issue. It's almost always going on with an AC, But if you're gonna do it, yeah, I don't have a problem with doing them. I'm just saying, if you want a recommendation, I love Acer, love them. But
yes, sir. Yeah, that was my plan to take it. What would you do about the actuators in the head if you went to a single turbo? Would you delete them?
Well, I can't recommend you delete it. Right? That's the emissions bit. What I would tell you, if you don't delete them, it's going to destroy it.
That's what I figured.
Well, there you go.
Do you change the rock with him?
No, you don't need to change anything except for the piston crown.
Piston crown for a 16-1 overhaul kit from you, 3-stage head, turbo coated manifold, and then I guess call some people in Canada.
Well, that would be the thing. Yep.
Okay. All righty. I just wondered about where the time of pickup on a 6NZ is in behind the air compressor. Time of pickup in MSX is on the outside of the peanut.
Yeah.
I just wondered if that had to be changed.
No, not if you got the right guy tuning it.
Okay. All
right, brother.
That's one of my questions I need to know, because that's what I was planning on doing. In fact, I have done called and got a price on an overhaul kit from your man, and I was just wondering about the actuators and so forth. If we may need to check the rockers to singles, like on 6NZ, or to see the Escher.
No,
okay.
They work just fine the way they are.
Don't take them off.
If you were talking Canadian, where they can legally delete stuff, would probably recommend you back them off.
Okay. All right.
All right. Sir.
You've answered a lot of questions. All right. You have a good, and I appreciate your time. Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye. Your VVA operates just like your Jake's does. So your Jake arm, your rocker arm, it just has a flat spot on the rocker arm where the Jake actuates off of it. Same thing with the VVA. It's on the intake. It looks just like the one for the Jakes, and they actually operate identically, really. It is. It depends on side you're on. Oh, why does the internet hate me tonight? This one guy said, "What is the difference in Hack Nation cylinder head with ink and loss, and NTI stage cylinder head with fire rings. And what's your thoughts with fire rings? I wanted to answer that. First of all, there is no hacknation head right at this time. The run of 50 of them that we made sold out in less than 2 weeks, and we've been struggling to get them back in stock. It is a huge process. We are close to ship them in 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're buying a stage 3 head from us, we're sourcing them like everyone does. PDI has JEDs. I've confirmed that many times. They're not PDI heads; they're Jera heads, unless they've changed something very recently. They're Jera heads, and they put ink and oil and taking it on, and the what thoughts on fire? Doing we're back ring opinion.
Yeah, can you hear me good this time?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm running a X15 2020, and I'm running heavy, about 100,000 every day. How often should I change my oil?
I mean, if you're
in that
running
situation?
conventional oil, my recommendation would be every 10,000 at least.
Okay, that's what I'm running at. That's exactly where I'm at right now. And one more thing, my mechanic has told me to put automatic transmission fluid. I had wrote you about it.
Yep.
Automatic transmission fluid in my power steering reservoir. And you said no, that's not a good idea. Why would he tell me that? What is he thinking there? Have you heard of that?
It's
misconception?
It's not going to hurt anything, and it will operate with power steering fluid. But your power steering fluid is designed for power steering units, right? And it has different conditioners in it, and it's just formulated differently. That kind of stuff is nonsense. Why wouldn't you just put power steering fluid in the power steering unit?
Yeah, that drives me crazy. Why he would even say that? Makes me not want to trust him, his input, but he is a good mechanic. I finally found a good mechanic, so I'm just gonna tell him that don't do that shit no more.
Yeah, and a lot of these things like that happen like this, brother, is just my dad said or my grandpa always did type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't.
Okay, what about this? This my grandpa once did. When the fuel fill, I think everything transmission fluid it goes to the pilot. Have you?
Yeah, but tell him to quit that good shit.
Is that one of those things?
Yes, one of those same things. If you end up with bad,
yeah, what the hell? What's going on with those?
Yeah, transmission fluid is more like a hydraulic fluid that has no place in your injectors.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're tranny crazy because they just want to put it everywhere.
Yep.
But another thing, man, all the haters that are calling in, it kissed my ass, bro. Because who else is gonna take my call about this shit? No one's gonna do that while I'm on the road. So I appreciate you, man, and whoever's hating, fuck off.
Yep. All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
Have a good night. Thanks for taking my call, man. Be safe. Bye.
Yep, bye. All right. If we keep having internet problems, I'm going to drop the YouTube portion of it and just run the Facebook portion of it and see if that helps. We'll see if it drops again and you're watching on YouTube, go catch us on Facebook. I'll drop the YouTube but we'll see. It's hanging in there right now. Let's go ahead and take another caller. Y'all are silly, man. All right, you're on the air, DD13. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron. Thank you very much for doing what you're doing, and I understand that you're tired of the day. So I'll try to make this quick to you. I got a DD13 that's got just shy of 800,000 on it, and I'm needing to in replacing the injector pump before it just creates a disco party in my fuel system. But I'm just trying to see, how much should I invest in this truck before, or in this engine before it just becomes a boat anchor?
That's really hard to tell, man. It's really hard to tell, but I'll just kind of give you what I've seen, right? And what I've seen is that the DD15s tend to get in 13s, I'm just generalizing here, tend to be million-mile engines pretty regularly. It's pretty consistent. 1,200,000, 1,300,000, somewhere in there. A guy can almost depend on his DD to do that. But it seems to me from where I'm sitting that once it hits that, they're almost a throwaway engine.
Okay.
And it seems like guys that guys start dumping money into them, and it's a downhill battle from there.
So I mean, I seen a DD13 or 15 before, and you had to rebuild it multiple times just trying to get it right.
And I'm not basing it on that. Okay. And we've rebuilt 4 or 5
Okay.
DD15s here. Okay. And not all of them were disasters like that. I'm not basing it on that. I'm just basing it on generalizing what I've seen. Right. And here's the biggest problem with your DD platforms. They all came in trucks that aren't worth the amount of money it takes to restore the engine. By the time this thing makes it 1,300,000, your Freightliner, whatever the crap it is, Columbia or whatever, isn't worth the 40,000, 50,000 it takes to restore the engine. So you have, you're stuck with this truck for another 700,000-800,000 miles to try and make it. And by then the truck's only worth $4, right? So that's the biggest problem with them. Is there, it's kind of like the old dual cam Cummins. One of the reasons I believe the dual cam Cummins isn't as prevalent as far as, if you talk to a engine parts manufacturer and say, which engine type rebuild kit do you sell the least? They're going to tell you dual cam. That's not because dual cams are so great they never have problems. It's people aren't willing to fix them. And it's because they came in like international I-9000s and stuff like that. There's thousands of them in those. And by the time that dual cam took a dump on them, 900,000, the truck's only worth $10,000.
Okay. So basically saying is just, take care of it as long as it can, but don't dump too much money into it.
Because the truck doesn't have the value.
I agree. Well, hey, bud, thank you very much for your time and your sacrifice for, staying up this late and helping us out.
It is what it is, brother. Have a good night, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And one guy pointed out on TikTok there, he said, oh, Aaron's just paying for advertising. It's all advertising. And, there's truth to that. Of course, I'm not altruistic. I'm not, I don't always want to do these shows, but it is a form of advertising, of course. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm fucking Mother Teresa. It's all advertising. So it is what it is. I just didn't want to, I am giving up my time, and a lot of guys here in the comments do the same thing. I like to thank people for that, but it's not altruism, never is. Anyway, how to convert a C15 550 to 6 1/4. What can we do for you, brother?
Yes, good evening, sir. I'm saying for all the effort that you do to inform people, and we have learned a lot through your videos, all truck drivers. Um, my question is because I have a Ford MXX, they are 475, and I saw your videos that you make a 640 or 6 and a quarter
Mm-hmm.
to those MXX, and I was wondering if to do that increase of horsepower, do you need to change the crankshaft for that?
No, but let me give you a recommendation, right? You have a 475. You can go down to Cat, or you can go directly to Cat or anywhere, and you can have that um tuned to a 550. So before you start thinking about jumping up to 640 or 6 and a quarter, anything like that, why don't you go spend the $500? Because that's, I think, about what Cat would charge you, and just about anywhere else as well. And yeah, I mean, I would go directly to Cat if I were you, and tell them you wanted to put a 550 tune on that thing, and why don't you try that thing out at a 550, and you might forget all about doing crazy stuff to this thing to make it 600 plus horsepower. That 550 Acer will walk the
Yeah.
dog, and you're out $500.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but the point is that they are going to be over, they are over a million already, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I would have to do overhaul anyways. And I just want to know what chances I have to improve the horsepower, and if I need to replace the 13 speed for an 18 to be able to reach that horsepower.
Right. I'm trying to
Or
save.
not.
I'm trying to save you a lot of money and a lot of grief. In frame the thing exactly the same way it is now, and put a 550 tune on it, and you're going to be extremely happy.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Yes, sir. And yes, I know that it's going to be a saving. But if I wanted
to
know,
answer your question, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you wanted to make it to a 6 and a quarter Acer, you would have to get a different camshaft, different injectors. Usually you can get away with the turbos that you have. I think the turbos you have will be fine. Don't quote me on that, I think. But it's definitely different cam, different injectors, and different piston crowns. The piston crowns are 17-1. And then you need a 6 and a quarter tune, and you're off to the races. For the 640 build, you would have to get 16-1 pistons, and then pretty much everything else can stay the same. You'd have to put a single turbo on it and this and that.
Okay, great. But we can keep my 13 speed transmission, or we have to change to 18?
It depends on what the rating on the 13 speed is. But that 13 speed is probably fine. I don't think you need to go crazy and do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm just asking because in Caterpillar, they told me that. They told me if you go to 6 and a quarter, you will have to change your 13 speed to 18.
And it's
speed
very
because
likely,
your horse,
it's very likely that they're correct. I don't know what 13 speed you have. They're not all the same, not even close. I could have a 13 speed, and you could have a 13 speed, and my 13 speed might be rated to absolutely walk all over your 13 speed. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, I understand. I don't have the spec on my 13. You're right. Well, I have the information on my transmission, but I don't know the spec that they have.
Right. So if you take it to a 550, you don't have to worry about any of that crap.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation.
I really appreciate it. And
in the end, you're going to save about $12,000, $12,000 to $14,000. That doesn't include the transmission. If you go the route I'm telling you, it's a lot of money.
Hey, that's good. I appreciate it, but I would like to have one of your 640 bills.
Come get it, brother. Come get it. But anybody that's ever dealt with me and actually had me do work for him, build stuff for him, one of my biggest priorities is making sure I don't bury people under their own truck. I'm not interested in people having to mortgage the house, and the old lady leaves them and they lose half the farm to come get their truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I'm asking this, because they told me you have to switch your transmission to 18, but they never told me about the specs, and they never told me that maybe my 13 will work. They just basically told me if you're gonna go to 6.25, you have to put an 18 speed. That was it. That's why I'm asking you, because you take your time to explain people so they can understand why is the reason.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Oh, great. We're up in San Antonio. Thank you very much for clarifying this for me.
Yep. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, go look up the James Dalton Highway. And legal loads start out at 96,000. You don't have to get any special permitting. You know, you can legally haul 96. And with enough axles, you know, on the trailer, they'll put them on a trailer. You can get up there to 113 with no special permitting and run the Alaska Haul Road. Go look up the Alaska Haul Road and the grades and what it's like to haul there. Most of my trucks and most guys' trucks up there are somewhere between 550 and 600 horsepower. Based on that, that's going to be the hardest you'll ever work a truck consistently, day after day. This idea that you can't do the job with a 550, I don't think there's a job out there that exists that it can't be done. 550 is getting shit done. Just saying. Richard, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Got a question about an X15 performance. We had a rebuild done, and I say a rebuild, I mean about close to $50,000, which included a new head, oil pump, the whole 9 yards. And from day one, it started using oil. Not in the water, not on the ground anywhere. Have no idea where it's going. And the prio temp runs about 900 to 920 in 18th kind of pull. What would cause that?
Yeah, how many miles are on it?
Since rebuild,
Yes.
about 15,000.
Okay. Well, and how much oil are you using?
About a gallon every couple of days.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what state do you run in?
We run in all 48 states.
Where are you primarily at?
Texas. We're out of Texas.
Okay. Have you seen
the guy that did it up in
since this rebuild? Have you noticed any oil on your exhaust at all, and turbo and all that? Like, is it puking any oil out?
Well, we took the truck back to the guy that did it, and we're kind of in a legal battle with that right now. We're trying to get the truck back from him. We hadn't got any answers. I just seen you guys on, and I just wanted to ask a question: what would cause that? Because we want to take it to the independent shop and have them give a prognosis.
Right. But do you have the answer to the question I asked you?
I'm sorry, I must have missed it.
Did you?
No.
Before
the oil on top of the stack. I haven't pulled the turbo apart, taking off, looking inside of it.
You shouldn't need
But I did notice the top of the stacks were blacker than normal. No, I didn't see any oil around the turbo at all.
Was there any streaks of it running down the stacks?
No, not running down the stacks. No.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna make a suggestion. Okay. This time of year, your January, December, January, March time of year is when the most amount of newly rebuilt engines don't make it very far, and they already start to push oil. And what happens is they don't get kept to operating temperature, and guys will wet stack them really bad. And then all of a sudden they're using oil like crazy. And the signs of that are blacker than normal stacks, wet down your exhaust system, wet coming out of the back of the turbo, wet on the exhaust manifolds where the manifold hooks up to the head.
Well, this was built back in the summer, and it's actually been tied up since the 1st of November.
Okay. And you can wet stack a truck in 120-degree weather. And I'm not saying that's it, but
Okay.
the problem that you're having most likely is when it's under load. When it's just sitting there, it's fine. But when you're out under load, it's pushing too much of the combustion gas into the
Right.
crankcase. It's going past the rings. So it either didn't get broke in right, or it got wet stacked, or it got dusted. That's the 3 different things that could make that happen. So either diesel fuel did it.
I was thinking it got dusted.
Okay. Well, that would mean
yeah.
you have on the intake side, you have a hole in the intake side, or you have air cleaners that were so filthy that they can't do anything but let dirt in. Right.
Well, the reason I said dusted because when I finally got to drive this truck, another driver was driving it for us. When I finally had to go pick it up, and I found the boots were loose on it. I could hear it sucking air. I mean, immediately I heard it sucking air. I pulled over and tightened all the boots up.
Okay.
So that's why I went to the dusting.
And maybe, but whoever opened it up should be able to tell you that. I mean, have you guys opened it up
Yes.
already?
Okay. Well, I mean, no, so like I said, we've been in a battle with this, with lawyers back and forth since 1st of November, and we're hoping to get it here this month. And so we can get it opened up, and we're just trying to find the right shop to take it to.
Yeah, I mean, if you give us a call tomorrow, we can probably point you in the right direction to somebody that won't just try and talk you into a rebuild because they need money.
Well, that's what we're afraid of. Like I said, we just sunk almost $50,000 in this thing.
I understand.
And this truck is deleted. It is deleted. And, I was worried about it if the tune went bad or something on it, because when they were getting it back together, they was having issues getting into the system and retuning it.
Yeah, I mean, you might end up having to throw a $1,800 re-ring kit at it. I don't know, but the place to start's somebody that's not going to just turn it into a rebuild just because they need the work, right? And I know lots of people that we can trust. So reach out to us tomorrow. We can point you in the right direction. In fact, there's a shop we work hand in hand with right beside us here. So if you're in Texas, we have a guy, and he just called me. We give him so much work, and he just called me and said, "You got anything else for me?" So, we could probably help you out. I mean,
well, we're up in Stevensville, Texas.
I understand. I'm just saying, if you want to give us a
all right,
call us tomorrow. We can figure it out.
Absolutely, I will.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
Yes, sir. I'll definitely do that. All right, thank you. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Cat will not warranty stack rings on a 2WS cylinder pack. Have you heard of that? They said if it's their fault, they'll warranty the pack, but not the headset or rod bearings. I mean, you're having problems with Cat warrantying something? Join the club, brother. I mean, they always got these weird. I mean, they've seen more warranties than anybody on planet Earth, so they got it figured out more than anybody else. But they always have a way to figure it out, and you hope it's not Bennett. Bennett doesn't work on engines. They did for about 2 months and they quit. Aaron, I think you're on the air, brother.
Hey.
Yep, it's you. Hello.
Hey, Aaron. My name's also Aaron.
Makes me
we
like
have a 6NZ that we. Yeah, perfect. We're on the same page then. I have a 6NZ that we did a complete overhaul in. It was in June of 2024. The truck's a spare truck. has a 6NZ in it. We went with a platinum kit, PAI oil cooler, had a new turbo at that time, obviously the full bottom end, top end, new crankshaft. This thing just recently had a catastrophic failure, we found. It had a bunch of compression gas in the cooling system, had signs of overheating, but I don't want to implant that into your diagnosis here. But I just want to get your opinion on what you may think part of the failure analysis would be. It's the piston skirts were very badly scored, liners scored, crosshatching gone. This thing didn't burn much oil that we could really tell. It's only had about 40,000 kilometers. I'm in Canada. Overhaul. And it's cracked the head between all the intake valves other than number 1. Piston skirts were all trashed other than number 2 had no sign the damage. Numbers had wheel spotted damage. All that's for just beige in it, like a black. I want to call it a silicate, but it's not like silicate. It's like a slimy sand, maybe. There was no like stop leak added to it or anything like that. It did have a water pump fail on it after the rebuild. There was a Cat water pump that was replaced at the time of the overhaul. That was done last January. That was the only time that we know of when had like a severe coolant loss. Critical events around 200. The paint job that we had put on it was obviously cat yellow, and it's in the head, and then the side of like the manifold on the exhaust side, it's kind of turned like a burnt orange. I think that's most of the information that I have.
Pretend like you haven't already told me that you lost coolant and it overheated. Liner skirts. Let's establish something right now for everybody that's watching. Okay. Liner skirts have lots of clearance, and you will see where liner skirts will hit the outside wall of the liner and absolutely tear the liner apart. That is only possible under extreme temperatures. It's the only way that it's possible for the aluminum to swell so big that it starts to hit the liner wall. There has to be extreme temperatures. And it's so far out of the realm of normal operating that it can't be anything else, right?
So I guess kind of going forward is like that was my diagnosis as well, was a severe overheat. Because there's, like you said, there's nothing else that could really cause that, and there was no signs of it being like an oiling issue, other than the fact that maybe there's some burnt oil in the bottom of the piston. But I think that would be due to the fact that the oil couldn't be cooled.
So here's the thing, okay? Like I have for coated engines right now, we're just by the end of this week, we're going to hit 200 engines that we have running around with our coatings. I've had 2 people send me pictures of failures that they've had, and both of them are the same thing. Liners are scraping the walls. They're like, oh, we think your coatings ruined our engine. Like, okay. For the skirt to hit the wall, it has to get so hot. It's kind of unbelievable, right? So I'm just kind of like putting it out there, right? That can only happen from 2 different ways. You externally overheated it from something like coolant, or it can happen 3 ways. Cooling jets were bent or not getting oil, and they were not hitting the lands. Your pistons got hotter than shit because they weren't. You guys bent the cooling jets when you rebuilt it, or whoever rebuilt it. Okay, that's number 1. That's the most common thing post rebuild. You know, if it happens within X amount of time of a rebuild, it's almost always people bend the cooling jets. Okay, number 2, you'll see this happen because of ass shit tunes that are burning so hot that the combustion temperature just keeps stacking all that heat and soaking that heat down into those skirts, and it takes out the engine. Number 3, you have a known event where I lost a lot of coolant and the damn thing got incredibly hot. The oil wasn't able to cool because there's no coolant. It's almost like it's not even spraying oil. Everything's still getting lubed, but it's not getting cooled, and it destroyed the engine. Since you have a known event.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so
and the fact that your head's destroyed along with it, I'm gonna just say your driver, whoever's driving, even if it was you, sorry to throw you under the bus if you were the driver, but you drove it for way too damn long with no coolant.
Yeah, I guess like you can easily rule out 2 of those things, and the truck's not tuned; it has a factory file in it, and I knew that because when we did the rebuild on it. I guess another piece of information I should also mention is that we did put brand new cat piston cooling nozzles in. And then it's something that I checked when I was tearing it apart, trying to do my own failure analysis.
Brother, the driver destroyed the truck. The driver destroyed the engine, 100%. Whoever was driving it drove it for too long without pulling over. They ruined the head, they ruined the pistons, they ruined the skirts, they ruined the liners, they ruined everything. That was driven. That it was still oiling. Yeah. The reason your crank and all that's probably fine, but everything else got destroyed because it got driven for too long. Guaranteed.
Crank and block are about the only thing. Yeah. So in your opinion, should we be replacing the radiator on this thing as well? Like just the fact that it has that black kind of silicate in it. I'm going to replace the oil cooler because I think it's gotten hot enough where I don't know if I would trust it.
I mean, the oil cooler is probably fine. The radiator is probably fine. Personally, I'm not telling you, it's easy to tell people to change parts, but me personally, I probably wouldn't change either of those. They're probably fine.
Okay. Like I visually cannot see through the oil cooler. It gets plugged up with like that black dropout. And I sent a coolant sample out to get analyzed to kind of see what that black stuff is, if it's soot or if it's like I don't know, coolant drop, like silicate dropout or something. I don't know what it is exactly. It's like a slimy rubber.
If you got the money and you're in doubt, do it. Right? But it's not normal that you have to change the oil cooler because you had your failure, is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm telling you it's not like, you had this catastrophic failure, you better change that. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if we're gonna change anything,
my boss's truck, so it's when it hits home.
Yeah, if we're gonna change anything, we probably better change the driver. I'm just fucking.
Well, I'll mention that to my boss and see what he wants to do about that. Let me know, Big J. Yeah. So okay. Well, that sounds good. So yeah, that kind of clears things up. I just kind of wanted another opinion because that's kind of what we were determining too. But obviously, we don't want to have another $70,000 mistake here.
Yeah, the driver ruined it. He drove it for way longer than he's telling you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple key measures. This truck does not have a low coolant level sensor installed on it, so we're definitely gonna be putting one of those on this time. And
that thing was still fucking.
Yeah, so
those lights were still fucking screaming at him. Bet you $100. But anyway, all right, brother. Good luck.
Okay, appreciate that. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, stop calling in. Good grief, we only got 20 minutes left. 18 minutes. Relax. Okay. We're going to try and get through all these guys still on hold. 34 is the last one. I won't take any more after that, so relax. I'm calling in. Here we go. Nate, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you? Did you burn your engine up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Okay. I have a list here.
Okay, let's go through it quick.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have a BXS C15. And it was converted to a single turbo before I bought it. And now so far it has it's weak. It won't run with any 550 out on the road, and it had terrible blow by in the first year, and we put we took the high compression pistons out and put 16Z pistons in, and went forward with that. And then we put a cat, a factory cat turbo. What do you recommend I do to get any more power out of it? Because my cousin has about 9 other trucks, and everyone walk all over mine.
Yeah, it can be very underwhelming to delete out a cert and make it 16 to 1. Did you use so you used a 16 to 1 kit, I'm guessing, when you rebuilt it? Okay. And I don't know who did the tuning for you on all of that. Did you guys do some kind of delete tune to it?
No tune at all.
Okay, well, that's a big problem. And did you put a single turbo on it?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, man. That thing's still trying to, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Your stock turbo, by the way, is probably too small for what you're trying to do. But you gotta have, so the VBAs are still operating?
The what now?
The VBAs are still operational?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, brother. You're blowing all of your horsepower out the VBA. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you're the first guy ever.
No, you're good. And I'm here to learn.
Okay. You got to find somebody to tune that thing correctly. That's your problem.
Okay. I do have a couple more questions for you, if you have the time.
Well, I don't, so run them out. Let's go.
All right. So, do you run an overhead on your jake brake or on your valve system, warm or cold?
Oh, I do them cold. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, your RPM at an idle when the driver is sleeping in the truck, do you run your idle up to keep the oil pressure up, or do you leave it at an idle?
I don't think any truck should be sitting around not bumped up to at least 1,000. That's my personal opinion, and there's 100 reasons for that. But as far as what you should be idling at while you're sleeping in the truck, it depends entirely on the ambient temperature. And the only reason that matters is because the only goal that you should be focusing on is that your truck stays at operating temperature, which is 180 degrees or above. If it's below that, then you don't have it idled up high enough. It should be directly related to what is the engine temperature at. The 1,000 RPMs, I agree with, to keep the oil pressure up 100%. But as far as where you should go from there, it depends entirely on keeping it up to operating temperature, which is 180 degrees or above.
Okay. Do you run your fan or no fan?
No.
so it doesn't kick on and off all night long.
No, the ECM needs to do that. If you run it all night long, then you're definitely not going to be up to operating temperature, brother.
That's fair.
All right, brother.
I appreciate that, and you have a good night. God bless you.
Yes, sir. You too. Bye. All right, next one. I'm trying to get through them quick here. Ron Partridge, what can we do for you, brother?
Hey, Aaron, appreciate you taking my call. I'm getting a new truck, or a used truck, in the next month. It's going to be my first Caterpillar, 3406E. What would you idle it at when you're sleeping? I think you just said that with the other guy, like 1,000 at least to keep it up at 180.
I mean, you want to bump it up 900,000 just for oil reasons, right? And then from there, like I just said, it has everything to do with the operating temperature of the truck. You know, a truck that's sitting there all night, chugging along at 160 or 150, it's damaging the engine. And it's doing damage not only to...
Doing a lot of soot buildup, right?
It's not that... So you aren't burning all the fuel, and so you're wearing out the liners. That's the biggest danger. The secondary problem that happens is you're not burning all of the carbon off of the pistons, and it transfers to damage to the valve train. Most valve trains, when they get opened up and guys look at them and they're like, man, this valve train's got all this, the pins and rollers and the cam are all kind of getting chewed up and the facing's coming off. That is almost always directly related to carbon on the piston crowns themselves. And it puts pressure back against the valves, that puts pressure back against the cam, and it actually tears up the camshaft. You know, there's all these theories why Cummins have all these camshaft problems, but I see just as much of it on cats, and it all goes back to not being around operating temperature.
Okay, so keep an eye on the operating temperature. If it got to go to 1,200, that won't hurt nothing.
I used to run mine in Alaska at 1,600 all night, all the time.
Okay, and one more thing, it's a 475. Would you put a 550 tune on it or 500?
I mean, if I owned it, I would.
I run running Georgia to Carolinas to Georgia, maybe Texas, back and forth. That's it.
I'm sure. I mean, and you probably don't need it. You probably don't need to, but I would. I mean, I would. It doesn't hurt anything, and it makes it a lot more pleasurable to drive.
Go for 550 on it.
I would.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it's on a 99 kW, so that's my dream truck.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck.
All right, appreciate it, buddy. I keep up the good work. I've watched all your videos. I've been out of work injured since October of 24. I think I can build an engine now.
Oh, I'm sorry. That must suck. Later.
All right, later, bro. Appreciate it.
Yep, bye. All right, 3 more. Here we go. Daniel, B model. What can we do for you, brother?
Hey, brother. Full throttle, full RPM. You can watch in the mirror. It's like black smoking, and then clearing up, and then black smoking. What's your opinion?
The tune's too hot? What kind of engine?
B model cat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tuned, but
yeah, it's the screws are turned too far. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hurt anything. Depends on who's the one turning the screws for you.
yeah, he said he had timed it a little bit last time he flipped it. I don't know if he had like timed and messed up too much or
no, I
too much fuel.
Does it run great?
Oh yeah, like it. That's why I'm not really too worried about it. I was wondering how it's smoking and then not, like if there's an injector or timing.
No. You're probably no problem with it at all. My B models, man, that I used to own and run, you could not be behind them. You couldn't be behind them. It would kill you in the truck. The guy in behind you would literally asphyxiate. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to have the air to push it. So really it comes down to your pyro. Watch your pyro. If you're having to adjust the way that you're driving all the time, and the EG, just fighting those EGTs, put a bigger turbo on it. Other than that, probably good to go. All right.
Yeah. Last question. The temperature on the pyro before the turbo and after the turbo.
After the turbo.
The difference Do you know the temp difference?
No, I don't. I always put them
I
after the
run mine at
turbo.
like
I'm well versed on after the turbo. I
oh,
can't tell you before. I don't know.
yeah. I've heard I run mine at 8 and 9, but I've heard it's 300-degree temperature, so that'd be like 1200. And I've heard that's melting, so
I would get
didn't
one
know.
installed right post turbo and see what you really got going on.
Appreciate your time, man.
All right, brother. If you're running 1200,
Good.
that's not good. All right, bye.
No. All right, shit.
No, you won't melt the engine down at 1200, but you certainly can if you sustain it for long enough. 1200 is dancing with the devil, really. All right, you're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I just got a quick question on an ISM I've been dealing with a issue on for a while. A long crank to start issue. After it sits for 2 days or more, it seems like it's worse. I changed the cam and crank position sensor. I changed the high pressure fuel pump. If you give it a whiff of ether when it's spinning over, it'll fire up instantly, no questions asked. I don't really know which way to go with it anymore or what I'm dealing with here.
So you're losing prime. That's what you're trying to say. You're losing prime. Okay. So
It fires right up though. That's right. I was that's what made me think it maybe was an electrical issue. But
that's a sure sign that you're no. If there's an electrical issue, you could empty the can of ether in and it wouldn't start. They will not start if there's an electrical issue. You're losing prime. You already said in the very beginning, the longer it sits, the harder it is to start. Right? That 100%, you're losing prime. So it sounds like it's a bleed back.
Right.
It sounds like it's bleeding back, which means your check valve, your fuel check valve, is probably the problem. I would start there, deal with that. The problem will probably go away. If it doesn't go away, then it's something else. One of your lines, for some reason, is causing that problem. But start with the check valve, and most likely your problems will go away. They do wear out.
Check valve after the high pressure fuel pump.
Yep.
Is there one?
I can't remember where it's at on an ISM, but get on your insight and find it and change it.
Yeah. All right. And there's no on the ISMs generally they don't have a lift pump before the high pressure. I'm sorry, a lift pump anywhere, like electrical lift pump or anywhere.
I think they do, don't they? But I don't think that's your problem, man. It might be.
Okay.
It might be 100%. I'm pretty sure they have an electrical. So when you turn the key on, it doesn't sit there and run.
No, don't hear anything, and that's what I tried looking for that, and
that's it very well could be the problem, but 100% it's a losing prime problem.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
And people keep calling and calling. I'm not taking any more calls, guys. I'm not taking any more calls. Stop calling. Rebuild kit for your MXS. Your name is Eric. What can I do for you, brother?
I was just wondering when you, all this new stuff you plan on receiving coded and whatnot, when all that would maybe be available.
So here's a quick update, okay? Today we were coding pistons that officially go in our kits. We get the boxes before the week's over. I was doing all Detroit stuff today. We're 10 days out from doing all the Cats and Cummins. All the bearings, we finally found a place that would coat bearings for us because we want robots to do it, because we want to know for sure that we have the same thickness on every bearing. So if anybody calls me ever and, we have a quality control. And So we've always planned to farm the bearings out. We finally found a place that will do them for us, and we sent them a couple thousand bearings, and they're hoping to have them back to us next week. So when somewhere in that time frame, you see, yeah, you see where we're at. We're like really close here. We also already did all the N14s. We're waiting on bearings from the N14s, and we'll be releasing N14s, 12.7s, and 14-liter Detroits probably next week, I'm going to guess, if we're lucky. And then it'll be a few days after that. It'll be the ISXs and the cats. So we're really close.
Okay, because at one point in time, my motor was rebuilt by Pittsburgh Power, and they deleted the twin turbos and all that sort of stuff. I have no idea where anything is set, and my mechanic, he was wondering if you would be able to help him set my ECM to what you guys would like it at for a 640 build.
Well, that's the thing, brother, is we don't get involved in tuning and stuff because we would like to not.
I guess I don't want it tuned. He just doesn't know where you guys set your timings and all that sort of stuff, and I have no idea where my timings are set. All I know is right now this thing is set at 650 horse with 2050 torque. Other than that, I don't have a clue. And he says the program that is in it, he has never seen anything like it before.
What kind of engine is it?
It's an MXS 05 cat.
You know, I wish there was a Canadian company that I could just hand out their number to everybody. It would make all of this so much easier. We need to find that Canadian company we could just share. But yeah, I don't know I don't know where to point you on that one, brother. But as far as the rest of it, you know, I kind of answered the best I could.
Yep. And because my motor needs to be rebuilt, and I was hoping to be able to have it done by July. And I guess the tuning part of it, well, I don't know where you guys set your timing at for your 640 builds.
I have Betterment.
That is the kit, I guess. I want to.
That tune that we did, or that we do, a company made for me based on a spec sheet that I gave them of how I wanted to build an engine, and they built me a tune specifically for that. And they have done that same thing for us on several engines, N14s, ISXs. We've sent them spec sheets, and we just build them the same every time. We just do the same thing. We rinse and repeat the same thing over and over again. And you know, all the tuning they've ever done for us is geared around the max horsepower that we can possibly get, and everybody feels comfortable warrantying it. And that's what we base it on.
Yeah, because I don't need nothing stupid, but I do like the way this thing runs right now. And it don't take much. Slows down a little bit on the hills when I'm loaded, and otherwise, by the time I get back up to the top, I'm right back up to speed.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's set at cruise, so it works very well. And then your turbos. You have the what's the word? Well, mine has a hose on it, so when it builds up too much, it kicks back on the turbo bypass, I guess.
Yep.
Would you put another one of those on here that way, or would you forget about the bypass? Because I know when I do pinch off that little hose, my
I mean, I'd pinch it off.
engine don't get as hot.
I'd pinch it.
All right.
Just saying, I would.
Well, yes, because I know my engine stays cooler,
yeah,
or the temps do, when I'm in that hard pull.
Yep. I would leave
But
it. I would leave it pinched off for sure. Just my personal opinion.
all right. Well, actually,
I pinch it off 10
well,
times.
I'll
People are so dumb. Anyway,
one of your turbos. How much is one of those? And then I'll let you go.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, actually, I was just on the phone with our turbo supplier today and bitching him out a little bit because we had our coatings down great, and then this last batch that came through, I didn't like the coatings, so we told them we're going to put a hold on selling anymore until they fix it. But they called me today and said they're going to fix it immediately. So hopefully, we're not going to skip a beat. But if you don't do the coatings right on, when you're coating, what we've figured out is that when you're coating cast steel, it's a whole animal in and of itself, and that cast steel will rust right through your coating. And so the coatings have to be done in a certain way, and there has to be some certain prep work, which actually is a different coating. You got to put subsurface coatings on, and then put your coatings over that. And if it's not done properly, it doesn't take very long at all, and you start to see problems. And they started out great, and they're not great already. So, man, a lot of it's crazy being on this side of the fence. I'll tell you what, just so much quality control all the time. But what and from what I can tell, it's only been like you know, one run of turbos, so it's not a big deal. I hope. I don't think it'll be a big deal, but learning as we go. It's kind of like with the bearings, deciding to have a place with robots, robotics do all the coatings for us. I'm pretty excited about that, but it's all a big learning curve. And like the coatings I'm
Well,
talking about,
but
I
a
see some
turbo
of
that goes on a 640 build,
yeah. No, I
how
mean
much is one of
the head, to be honest, off the top of my what you'd have to call the call center. But like one guy on here saying he's running one of our turbos. Integrity of the turbo is not in question at all. We have awesome turbos. They're made in the United States, but part of our claim to fame is those thermal coatings. And if you start to see them, if you do have a turbo from us and you start to see the integrity of the coating, you just get a hold of us. We're having somebody else code them for us to our specs. So they got to hold up or they got to get it figured out. So it's no big deal. Anyway. All right, guys. Well,
yeah. But all right.
Yes,
I'll let you go.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you
call.
very much for your time.
Yep. Bye.
You bet.
Anyway, you're running one of our turbos and I'm over here talking shit about them. That's funny. No, I just they sent me 5 turbos just to make some videos with, and they sat around for a while, and for like 5 days, and I was gonna make videos with them. I was like, this does not. Something about these doesn't look right. These aren't like all the prototypes that we had. I got to look in. I was like, called them. Hey, man, you guys using the phase 1 before you do the phase 2? And here we go around in a circle. But they're fixing it, so it is what it is. Anyway, all right. Well, maybe we'll be in our other shop. We did find out that we don't have fiber to the other shop. They have some kind of high speed through the phone internet, but not fiber. So maybe we're gonna drag the Starlink over there with us. But it is quite a bit farther out of town, so this Starlink might work a lot better. 15 miles further south. So there is that. I know on my boat, my Starlink on my boat is like almost as good as the fiber at my house. So we'll see. Do we have a website? No, we don't have a website. You just call the call center. We just like it better like that. We like to talk to people. So many people don't know. Even if we had a website, everybody would just call us anyway, because most guys don't, give us your engine serial number and we figure everything out for you, But as far as what we have for an N14 in stock, it's pretty much everything under the sun, brother. So don't need to worry about that. Anyway, guys, y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for participating. Pay for the fiber. You know how that works, man. If they haven't ran fiber to your area, you're screwed. You ain't paying to have them run fiber. I don't even want to know what that costs. But anyway, do we have a Canadian supplier? My sons just got through telling me that we just got a Canadian supplier. So I believe the answer to that is yes. Do they have stock yet? I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to give the call center a call, and we do have someone in Canada that we're going to start, they may already have all kinds of inventory. I don't know, but yes, we got a Canadian company we're linked up with. So anyway, you want to wear my swag so you can get hated on by Detweiler? Jesus Christ. You guys are silly. Oh, man. The show isn't the worst thing. It can be fun. It's fun. I do enjoy hanging out with all you guys. I really do. And I enjoy seeing the same guys over and over again. It means a lot. I appreciate the support. You guys all have a good night. Love you long time. We'll see you next week. Sorry the internet always fucking sucks. If I could cure it, I would. Or just damn hillbillies and live out in the sticks and and purposely get shops out in the sticks. It is what it is. I'll see you guys next week. Love you long.